Welcome to the third edition of The Chop, special March Madness edition with
Brendan Kelly.
Michael Shuley. And our
Matt
first
McGillick,
ever.
Or not Matt.
You
no.
didn't introduce you? Alright,
No,
whatever.
I introduced myself.
You're not important. Because we have our first ever on-camera special guest, Chief himself. Come here,
we're
Dylan.
actually
Dylan Cleveland.
sniffing Mike.
We have a...
Thank you for having me. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, welcome.
Well, he
Welcome
is
aboard,
our
It's all ours.
Chief.
It's all ours.
our guidance, our light. We're here, have our bracket filled out partially already. We did a little off camera. Brendan, break down what we got so far.
All right, we got Nova coming back. Obviously a lock for pretty much the Sweet 16. Returning champions. UVA's been playing solid basketball. They're going to be getting to the Sweet 16. SMU is beating former #1 Baylor this year. They've been slipping a little bit. We're feeling good about SMU. Duke is Duke every year. They're going to make a splash. They're going to go far. Gonzaga, what? One loss this year?
Just
One loss this year. I mean, if you don't have these guys at least in your Sweet 16 or Elite 8, I don't know what you're doing. WVU, solid season so far. They've been playing well. Beat Baylor when they were #1. I'm feeling good about the Mountaineers. Florida State, solid conference play this year. And Arizona has been splashy all year. One of the best shooting teams I think we've seen. Chief, you want to break down from the other side real quick?
Yeah, sure. So over here we have Kansas, another #1 seed. #1 seeds are almost a lock, as you mentioned. Purdue finished first in the Big Ten regular season, but an early exit from the tournament. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Boilermakers. Rhode Island, a little bit of a surprise team for some, but we have them going at least to here, but they will get knocked off by Oregon. Michigan is a little bit of a higher seed that we actually think might have a shot at advancing to the Sweet
I think
16.
they've been playing really good basketball so far.
Good appearance in the tournament after everything that happened with their plane off the runway. Made it into D.C. and had a very good appearance in the Big Ten tournament. Moving to the South region, we have UNC and Butler, and then UCLA and Kentucky. What do you see in those four teams?
UCLA.
This game will probably happen. This is going to be a game to watch fairly early on in the
Both
tournament.
of these are
at
games
this
to
point.
watch. Right here.
Watch the South because I have a feeling the champion could come out of the South. This is arguably the toughest part of the bracket right here, this South region.
And for
Watch
those of you
this.
that don't know, Mike has had a lock on UCLA and Ball all year.
Lonzo Ball.
He's riding them hard. He's got money on Ball.
Here's something to watch, though. Not only are these teams that we have picked, but like you have Dayton still in there.
Middle Tennessee is the team not to sleep on. You don't want to sleep on these guys.
We have a couple of upsets in the first round. We're not sure how they're going to pan out in the second round once they get into the higher seeds, tougher competition. But we do have some possible Cinderella stories with Middle Tennessee, Wichita State. What do we got going over here for our Cinderella stories? We got Xavier over Maryland. They're a team to possibly watch.
Even here, this FSU Xavier game, they compare fairly well for each other, so this could be an upset alert right here.
Yeah, Florida State had a very up and down year.
Yeah.
They were doing really well in front of the ACC at one point, fell back some. Not a great appearance in the ACC tournament, but you never know, they might pick up that steam again.
I also think Princeton might upset Notre Dame. Princeton's the first ever undefeated Ivy League champs.
Ivy League champions. First ever
Yeah.
champion of the Ivy League tournament, which they started just this year. Princeton's been playing pretty good, but we don't know how they're going to compare from Ivy League basketball to big boy basketball.
Big boy basketball.
So
All
we're
right,
going on to our Elite Eight. I think it's almost a lock for the returning champs to get back there. So we're going to stencil in Nova here. We're going to move to here, SMU and Duke. Now, this is a tough matchup because Duke hasn't been playing the best basketball we've seen them play in years, but they're certainly not playing bad basketball. How are you guys feeling about this one?
To me, Duke's like the New England Patriots of college basketball. You can't bet against them.
I don't
Or I don't like betting against them. It's not saying that I like Duke. I just find it hard to bet against them, especially a team like SMU. So I personally would put Duke in. I think I have Duke actually going to my Final Four. Even though they're not playing well, I have a feeling a couple bounces go their way. Be looking at a whole different thing.
I'll give you Duke, but I personally had SMU.
Yeah, me too.
Duke had a very strange season. Grayson Allen technicals
Yeah,
maybe
ups and downs.
possibly happen here or there. Different things like that. That could really disrupt the flow of a game. So if that happens at any point in this tournament, that's where I kind of see Duke maybe not being able to compete at the normal level. But I'll
If
give you
Grayson
that.
Allen keeps his head on straight and Duke plays Duke basketball, they're going to be one of the teams to beat.
Well, one of the things with Duke is they have the constant scoring of Luke Kennard. Kennard, I think, was top scorer in the ACC this year,
I
so
believe he was.
that's always something positive going for them.
All right, Gonzaga, WVU. As much as I like my Mountaineers, and as good as they were playing this year, Gonzaga's on another level this year. One loss in the regular season, just playing really, really good basketball. I feel good about Gonzaga getting into the tournament. I don't know you guys.
No, definitely. I think this is their year.
Yeah.
I'm a big Gonzaga person. Every year they make their appearance. Can't quite seem to get to that next level. I think they're going to bring it this year.
And then Florida State and Arizona. As good as Florida State can be, I think Arizona is another team that just they can shoot and they can play. I feel good. I feel really good
One of the
about
things
Arizona.
with Florida State is they're kind of like Duke in a way where they're fairly inconsistent. They're up and down. They have sky's the limit for this team, but I think they're too inconsistent.
I think
And
that's
I have Arizona going through as well.
You're going to have a heck of a regional final with Gonzaga and Arizona, two
Yeah.
best teams in the West.
I have another one here.
Yeah, I mean two best in possibly two best in the East.
Are we
I
going to have
think
all
undoubtedly.
the one? Are we going to have all the 1 seeds make it to the Elite Eight?
Quite
To wait and
possibly.
see. We've got to move to this side.
All right. Chief, I'll let you ride on that side.
Kansas?
Just on a crossover.
Purdue.
Kansas, Purdue. I mean, Kansas is another one of those teams where I don't want to say they're the New England Patriots, but they're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Year after year,
So that means they'll get
They're-
to like
they're
the
gonna-
top-
they're
they'll
gonna
get to
go
like the
in.
Final Four and then choke it away, and not play off.
I think no matter what, Kansas is just a team that everybody watches, everybody not necessarily roots for, but they put them deep into the tournament.
All right, Oregon, Michigan, 2 teams. Michigan's playing well. Oregon, of course, one of the top teams in the country. So
But Oregon, I don't know how I feel about them. They're playing good basketball this year. Michigan's coming off of a great Big Ten tournament. They had the uniform fiasco with the plane. They kind of have a little chip on their shoulder with that. Had to play in practice uniforms during the tournament. And I just think that Michigan feels real good about themselves right now.
They have the momentum.
I think they got a little momentum.
especially if we have them coming off of beating Louisville early on.
I think at this point in the tournament, Michigan's feeling
so?
real
This
good
is
about
so.
themselves.
Michigan's our Cinderella team, I guess.
I guess you
Coming
would
in
say.
as a 7 seed, making it to the Elite Eight. All right, UNC Butler,
Butler.
down in the South region.
Game to look for.
Game to watch out for. Does Butler go on another?
See, I don't know. I
As
just
a
think
4 seed, though, are they a Cinderella story?
I don't know if they're not necessarily a Cinderella story,
If
but
they
they
beat
are
UNC.
definitely a team that can beat UNC, that can compete with UCLA and Kentucky. But UNC, again, like Kansas, like Duke, they're UNC. You feel bad betting against them because you feel like you're going to be wrong. I don't know how you guys feel, but I have UNC.
I have UNC as well. I agree that Butler can compete with those other teams, and they very well probably will. As we said multiple times, that's going to be a heck of a Sweet 16
But
matchup.
how many tournaments, though, do we see all 4 1 seeds making it this deep into the tournament?
Very rare.
At some point, one of these number 1 seeds is going to slip up.
Well, how many of these 1 seeds are we going to end up having in
That's
the
the
Final
thing.
Four?
We have got a lot of good 1 seeds this year, I think.
That's another good point.
Like,
yeah.
they're not just they're like top tier. So the high seeds are very good. We're going to put UNC in. UCLA, Kentucky. Know where I stand on this.
I'm with you.
What you guys have before.
I agree that Ball has
3 to 4, you just
Basically.
lost. So we're putting
3 to
UCLA.
4. 3 to 4. Where is your math?
3
to
1,
4.
3 out of 4.
And your
Jesus,
match
lost.
are lost.
Good. I was
So
just going to voice
why
my
are you
opinion.
taking Kentucky?
I didn't say I was
UCLA?
taking Kentucky. I was just
You know what you're
saying.
saying that he doesn't think.
I was just saying I don't think Ball's as good as you hype him up to be. I think he's a good player.
You got real defensive real quick, just like that.
Well, Purple
I-
Kool-Aid's been real
I
defensive about
personally-
anything lately.
I personally think he's currently. Who has the number 1 pick? I think the Boston Celtics hold the Brooklyn Nets pick in the draft, and they'll probably have the best odds in the lottery. If I'm that number 1 pick, I'm going Lonzo Ball. I think he's a fantastic facilitator.
I think he is probably the best point guard in this tournament.
All right. So that brings us to just
Elite Eight.
the Elite Eight to pick.
We'll work here with Kansas and Michigan.
Okay,
I
that's where
do
I'm at.
feel good about my Michigan.
Michigan felt admitted
But
this
how-
far.
I don't think.
How
Well,
much?
that's a good point,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
I
they
don't
got
know.
what, Frank Mason the third,
Josh Jackson.
Josh Jackson. That's the other one I
Another
was
great
thinking
young
of.
prospect.
I mean, they're playing real well. Kansas is. They got really good players. But I think if Michigan keeps the ball rolling, as a 7 seed, they have the possibility to make a splash here, real deep. I don't know how
I
you
don't
guys
know.
feel about Michigan, but I feel good about them.
I like Kansas here.
Yeah.
I do. Keep in mind location of all these games. I mean, it's neutral court, but the Midwest, the Elite Eight and Sweet 16 are in Kansas City.
If you want to talk
So-
about getting screwed with location of games, I'd like to talk about Wisconsin up here. Where is Minnesota? Because Minnesota is playing their games as a, 5 seed?
Yeah.
They not only did worse in the Big Ten than Wisconsin, but Wisconsin went farther in the Big Ten tournament. Minnesota still got a higher seed, and Minnesota is playing in Wisconsin. So if you want to talk about location being important, I think if Wisconsin gets that 5 seed over Minnesota, Wisconsin is the
Wait,
team,
so
one of
these-
the teams to watch down
So
here.
these South games are being played in Wisconsin?
No.
One of
You're
these
talking
Minnesota
about the
playing in
first round?
Wisconsin?
Yeah, first round.
You're talking about
Minnesota.
the first round. I was talking about the regionals.
Yeah, I'm just
but-
saying. I'm saying this game,
Right.
if I'm correct, is being played somewhere in
Well,
Wisconsin.
we don't even have Minnesota winning that game. We have Middle Tennessee
I'm
winning.
just saying
And I think
if the Badgers were there.
this is an upset that I think a lot of people will have in their brackets.
I think a lot of people are looking out for Middle Tennessee this year.
All right.
But
So then we bounce back to Kansas and Michigan then. What do we have?
I think I roll with Michigan still, but you guys are probably going to go with Kansas.
I'm going Kansas.
I would say by being a 7 seed, just pure momentum would push Michigan over Kansas. They're steamrolling at that point, but
I'd have to.
that's just
All right, this team, like we said earlier, the number 1 seeds are so good. So I'd have to take Kansas, but
well, as you
we're
said
split.
earlier, though, like one's gonna have to go down.
Yeah,
eventually.
a one
A
seed
one
is
seed
gonna
will
have to go
fall
down.
sooner or later.
All right, so we're going with Kansas.
Yes, I think.
Kansas is. So which? Oh man, things are getting interesting.
Okay, now we have UNC, UCLA.
2 of the most
Two
historic programs
easily.
in college basketball, head-to-head, trip to the Final Four.
I think at this point, UCLA might be a little overwhelmed by just the sheer power of UNC. That's where I stand because they've been riding all year. And I don't know if one man can compete with a team
Well,
like UNC.
they have Ball and Leaf in UCLA, but still, this UNC team is so good. But I don't know. There's going to have to be some sort.
A 1 seed will fall, and it's quite possible that UCLA doesn't. I think I might take UCLA here.
I was thinking UCLA.
I'm I'm going UCLA here.
So
I think it's this. This is a flip of
Were
a
you
coin.
about to go to UNC on this one?
no, I was
I was gonna
not.
say
So
UCLA
you're
winning the
big
whole
time.
thing.
Yeah, I got
So we'll put them in there.
the Bruins will move
All right,
past.
for the other side.
Now we come back to the returning champs and Duke. The thing is, I read a stat somewhere that the returning national championships in the NCAA tournament, I think it's like they've never reached the Final Four, or they have like only 2 have repeated into the Final Four ever. So based on that notion, as good as Nova's playing, if they get Duke in this round,
If Duke
I
makes
think
it,
I think history is in Duke's favor.
if Duke makes it this far and plays well enough to get this far, that's a scary team.
Yes. I don't.
I feel if they're playing well, they can. If they're playing like we know Duke should play and can play, watch out for these guys because this year they're UNC obviously had the number 1 seed, but I want to say they're finally the underdog, and it's still hard to bet against.
Well, I mean, underdog in a sense.
Yes,
That they're not
right.
the number 1 seed.
And a lot of people have their doubts about them. So let's go to the West. We
This
have
this matchup's just
Gonzaga
is-
in Arizona.
is just as appealing to me as this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
You have the two best teams in the
if
West.
we have our Elite Eight close to being right, and these two games happen, I won't be able to take my eyes off the screen with these teams.
And watch the trash can there, buddy.
Sorry about
That's
that.
probably where you belong anyway. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right?
That hurt.
See you, purple Kool-Aid.
That hurt.
Purple Kool-Aid is
that-
trash.
So I got Gonzaga. I'm a big Gonzaga guy this year. I really like what they've done. The argument is the competition is not as strong in that
And
conference.
my argument here is, just like the Patriots got into the Super Bowl, I know we keep bringing up the Patriots, but I'm just bringing it up because of their record. The Patriots were, 18-0 going into the Super Bowl. Eventually, your luck, your momentum, it runs out. They're, 31-1, I believe, if I'm up right off the top of my head. Eventually, that steam's going to run out as good as they're playing. I'm taking Zona in this game.
I won't argue that. I think Arizona is a really good basketball team as well.
I think Zona.
I'm feeling,
Yeah.
personally, I'm Gonzaga, but Arizona, I can't, there's not an argument.
I feel that
If there-
eventually
if
it's
there's
just going
a-
to run out.
If there's a team here that can do it, it's these guys out of this West region.
Give you Arizona. So that brings us to the Final Four, where we were talking about how many one seeds are we going to have. And it ends up that we're only going to have.
Hold on, pump the brakes here.
One.
My Final Four and our Final
That's
Four
it.
is the same thing. Oh,
One seed. What's UCLA?
how'd that
Three
happen? 3 seed, Duke and Zona are both 2 seeds.
Duke is a 2 seed.
How'd that happen is because I know my stuff, that's why I
And
don't.
Zona is a 2 seed. Okay, so we were talking about how good these 1 seeds can be.
We only have
And
we only have Kansas escaping into the Final Four.
Just because, like what you said, eventually the 1 seeds fall. And it might not be in the first round, second round, but in the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, teams come to
Whole
play.
different ball game. If you get to these 2 rounds, you're a solid basketball team.
Absolutely. So what do we got? Duke, Gonzaga. Or
Duke
Arizona.
and
Duke
Arizona. Now, I feel
I think I got Arizona.
if Arizona is still shooting the way they shoot, they're coming off a big win against Gonzaga.
I'd take
That'd be a
Arizona over
huge
Duke
win.
as well.
I think I take Zona getting into my championship game.
All right.
I have them in.
I think I have them stenciled into one of my brackets. I have them stenciled into the championship game, and I feel good about Zona if they're coming off this.
All right.
So we're gonna get a Zona here, Chief.
All right.
Really wouldn't be a part of this.
I'm going Kansas.
Don't acknowledge him.
You're going Kansas over UCLA.
Well, we didn't even.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, I
Chief.
have Kansas. And I say that because you got to have a 1 seed in the final.
Josh Jackson versus Lonzo Ball. 2 top 5 picks in the NBA draft.
Kansas
Don't
finds a
forget
way.
about Frank Mason.
Frank Mason's not necessarily top 5 hope, but
He is a very
he'll be
good
lucky to
college
be a
basketball
lottery
player
selection,
right now.
and he's a great college basketball player.
So, Mike, you're ready to jump off the UCLA
No.
wagon?
No.
I don't know
If-
if it's another one of the momentum things like with Arizona. If we take
Came
a
up with-
big
Who
win,
has-
if
they
we
have-
take
yeah.
big wins over Kentucky and UNC, and they're feeling good.
If this bracket's right, think about the game they just came off of. Michigan.
Look at this road UCLA has to take if we're putting him here. Cincy, 6 seed, good team. UCLA, very good team.
They are
UNC,
they are
Kentucky or
UCLA.
UCLA.
I know what you're saying.
sorry,
2 of the best teams. I mean, they're in the same class as far as history of college basketball.
And then we
Yeah.
take a look at what Kansas is going through. Michigan State, obviously big program, good players, not always
Purdue.
fantastic. Purdue, 4 seed this year, playing pretty good, but again, it's Kansas against Purdue. If you're looking at history, Kansas all the way. Then you're looking at Kansas and Michigan. Michigan's a 7 seed this year. As good as they're playing, as good as we might feel about them, I see Kansas maybe a little just rolling through a couple of these games. And they might not be as fired up. They might not have some momentum.
so are we putting UCLA in the
I
championship?
think we are.
I think we might be.
Oh, guess who picked the championship right again? This guy.
Now, whatever Shirley
Oh,
put
boy.
for his bracket, the champion needs to put the opposite.
He probably picked UCLA.
I
An
did
all
pick
West,
UCLA.
an all West final in Phoenix is what we have then.
That is indeed what we have.
You know, at this point, LeVar Ball is going
And-
crazy. He wants a $2 billion shoe deal for his family.
If you're talking about, we were talking about where the games are played. You're talking in Phoenix, and we're talking Arizona.
national champion.
Now I feel real good.
That hurts me. That hurts me.
Sean
That
Miller.
hurts me.
I feel
Sean Miller.
like, although there may be some picks we got wrong, we might not have our Sweet 16, our Elite 8 right. I do feel good about Arizona. After watching some ESPN, reading some Bleacher Report,
ESPN.
I feel good about
Did I
Arizona.
want to say
if
Michael
they-
Wilbon had
if they can get
Wisconsin
over
in
here.
like the Elite Eight or Final Four?
Yeah.
I feel good
Michael
if
Wilbon.
Zona can get over this game, and if Zona gets over Florida State, which I think they will. And if they get over
What are we
Gonzaga, I
saying
feel
for
good.
final score of this game?
Final score? I'm a fan of high-scoring basketball games, but I don't know how they feel. I usually pencil in my championship games to be right around like 71 to 65, 71 to
70.
60.
In the 70s.
I think I had UCLA winning, but it was 72 to 65 or 67 or something.
I think I'd take Arizona at 71 to 66.
It's a good game.
And
And
It's
there
a good
we have
tournament.
it.
That's a good tournament.
Chalk bracket.
Make sure we know
I keep kidding over the post.
the chop, of course, in all caps.
And the tournament itself, of course, starts Thursday at 12:15. First game, if I'm not mistaken, is Princeton and Notre Dame over there in the West region. But of course, games on all day, then Thursday, Friday. More hoops on Saturday and Sunday as well, just to get this first weekend kicked off.
all right, well, thanks for tuning in to the Chop March Madness edition with Chief. We are hoping that you take some things that we've heard, that we said, hear us out. Good luck on your brackets. What was it? Warren Buffett's given.
Is he
Did you
still
see-
giving the $1 billion
No,
away?
he's giving anybody that gets a perfect Sweet 16 bracket in his company is getting $1 million a year for life. So if anybody wants to go out there, join
If you
his
use our
company.
tips and win $1 million a year for life, please feel free to
Slide some cash to the
cash
chop.
our way.
But
Until next time,
until next time, I'm Brendan Kelly,
Michael Shuley,
Purple
Brad
Bullet
McGillick and our special guest.
Chief.
you can say your name, Dylan.
My name is Dylan. I am the
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.
And enjoy.